Hello, welcome to the new training session. Today we'll be looking at how you can teach your students to create charts using Tableau. Tableau is a business software used by many companies for business analysis purposes. It has a desktop version which only works on Windows and Mac OS and needs license, but it also has a free online version that can be used across platforms. Today we'll learn how to use the free online version. You can open up your browser and search for Tableau Public, and then it will direct you to the link to the software. Once you click in, you will see this is the main interface of Tableau Public, and the first thing you need to do is to create an account. Click sign up. Here you can put in your information about your name and email and password, and I think that's all the information you need. Once you put in the information and create account, it should send you a verification link to your email address, and once you got into that email address, you should be able to use your account and password to log in. So here I'll simply log in. So in order to create a new chart, you can hover on Create and click Web Authoring. Okay, this will directly prompt you to connect to a dataset, meaning that you can, once you figure out which dataset you want to work with, you can start to create a chart. And for the first practice, let's use the dataset provided in the first link. Copy your dataset to your browser, and you will be able to see the first dataset we are going to use. This dataset is under the same format of the washer game that we mentioned in the previous activity. So during the activity, students play the washer game and record down their scores. And Tableau basically accepts Excel format. So the first thing we need to do is click File and download the dataset into an Excel workbook. And you can name it to whatever you want, like washer game practice. And it will save on your own device. And then you can go back to Tableau and upload the dataset from your computer. Find the one you just download here and click Open. And it might take a while for the dataset to appear here, depending on the size of your dataset and also your web connection. But once it's got loaded, you should be able to see that the dataset is on the left side, indicating that you are currently have it opened up. And down here, you will be able to see all of the name of each columns and the data types here. If you want to see the data, you can also click Update Now or Update Automatically, so all the data set will be loaded up here. It was not set by default because in case your data set is too big, that might take too long for you to open it up. So here you will see that looks the exact same of the one we have on our Google Sheet. So we can simply close the Google Sheet and only work with the Tableau interface. So once you upload the data set and you make sure that this is a data set you want to work on, the first important thing that you need to do and also remind your students to do is to save your progress. So click Publish As. It's similar as Save for other software, and it also takes a while for the software to process your data. And once it's done, you can type in the name you want this workbook to be. So I'll type it as washer game practice as well, and you hit publish. and your process will be saved. And remember that Tableau would not save your progress automatically. So whenever you make big changes and you want to save it, remember to click publish, so it will save the progress. Okay, so now you've saved the progress and you see that the interface change, and it prompts you to a new interface called worksheet. And down here is called sheet 1, indicate that this is the first chart you're going to create. And let's take a look at the interface. On the leftmost, you see those familiar names, which are those variables name on the data set you're working with. And in the middle, you see the important features such as filter, where you can apply your data filters, and marks type, which is connect with our DPV frameworks, especially the V part that tells you how you can set up the color, the size, whether you want to add some text, whether you want to add some tooltips to your chart. And in the middle is where what I call the stage of your data set, is where all of the chart will be displayed in. And on the top of the stage, you see there is something called columns and something called rows. So here is where you're gonna put the variables at, and specifically columns means that the mark type will be placed along the columns, and rows means that the columns will be placed along the rows. So basically, it's similar as x-axis and the y-axis here. Okay, so that's basically most features we are going to use with Tableau. And let's start create the first chart we have with this data set. And so since we know that this data set is about students' washer game status. We have different students and their scores for their different round. And you can start by asking your students with what type of question you want to ask about the data set. And here I would like to start with a comparison style question. For instance, which student played the best across all of the rounds? And in order to create a chart to answer this question, which student plays the best for all the rounds, you can prompt your students to create a sketch first on the piece of paper or on your whiteboard that you might want the student's name to be on the x-axis and the scores to be on the y-axis, so that will shows for each student how much score they get across. So with that sketch, you can connect it back to Tableau that we mentioned. We want to put student name along x-axis. And you can just simply drag the variable's name called student name and drop it on columns. And you will see here that students A, B, C is already displayed here. And then we mentioned that we want to have students' total score on the y-axis. So simply drag score and drop it on rows. And actually, it's already automatically create a bar chart for you that has students' name along X and their total score along Y. So down here, you will be able to see that students B get the highest score among all of the game. And to make it looks better and make it more clear, we also have the round information. So what if we will also want to know that for each student, for each round, how much score they get? The first thing we can do is drag round on color. So basically, it will assign different color to different round. So on this chart, based on the legend, we see that round 1 was indicated as blue, round 2 was indicated as orange, and round 3 was indicated as red down here. And if your students want to further edit the color, you can click on colors, click edit colors, and down here you can select different color plate to your chart. and just close it up and it will automatically save. Okay, so the question we want to ask is which students play the best? And actually, this chart is almost able to, is actually already being able to help us figure out the answer. So we can give the chart a name. Let's just name the chart with the question we want to answer. We want to ask about this data set, which is which student played the best, and click OK, and it will change the title to the one that you just set it up. And we want to make it a little bit more clear to read, and which since we want to find the best, maybe we can sort the bar. And to sort the bar, simply click down here. There you see that this icon indicates from the longest to the shortest, and click it, and your chart will be automatically sorted. And the first one, which is student B, indicate that the student played the best. And you can also, to make it more readable, add label to the bars to indicate the score for each individual round. To do this, you can also drag rounds on top of label and release it. Oh, this well shows the rounds, the name for each round. And if this is not what you want, you can click the triangle down here and remove it, and then change it to score, the score as label. So here it will automatically assign the score for each round for each part of the chart. Okay, and what else can we do to make the chart clear to see? We can also add some label, or we can also add some annotations to direct your audience attention to the certain spot you want them to pay attention to. And to do this, we can right click the location you want the annotation to be. And then down here, you click annotate. It can be either a mark or point an area. And here I'll just click a point, meaning that this will be, this annotation is connected to a specific point on the chart. And here, since I'm looking for the students play the best, I'll write student B plays the best across the brown, and save it. And it will show up here, and you can also change the location of your annotation based on where you would like it to be. So basically, that's all you need to do in order to create a chart that is readable and tells important information. And for now, I would like to further play around with this software to see what other kind of chart we can create to talk about this, to answer this specific question. So here we know that we have students score. We have students score for each round. And what if I want to know a little bit more about which student's performance for each specific round? What we can do is we still drag around and place it next to the student name, and we release it. And now you can see that the bars are being separated into smaller bars that are first grouped by the student's name following the order, and then by each round that following the round, the order of the round. So with this chart, you will be able to see that, okay, student B played the best, and their best score is during round 2. And then it comes to student F, and their best score is in round 3, and then student C also round 3. So with this chart, you can not only see that students B played the best across all the games, but also that students B played the best around round 2, but student F played the best during round 3. So by separating set by putting multiple variables on along one axis, it will tell you more information about this data set. And also, you can change the order of the bars. For instance, if I drag student's name and put it behind rounds, we see that now the data set is being reorganized by first the round and then the student's name. So here it will show you more clear for the question about for each round, which student played the best. For instance, we see that for round 1, student A actually played the best, and then for round 2, student B played the best, and round 3, student F played the best. And we also see that students tend to play better around round 2, especially compared with round 1. And if you want to play around with more advanced feature, you can also click Analyst, and here it will add some extra information to the chart. For instance, I would like also to compare their average score across different rounds, and I can drag average line. Since I wanted to compare across each round, I'll drag it on top of panel. So it will create an average line for each round. Now we see that, okay, students reach a higher average score around during round 2, and then round 3, and then round 1. So I think that's all we would like to do with this chart. Remember to remind your students to publish it to save the progress. So if they want to visit the chart again, or they want to later, after they turn off their laptop and open up to go back to the chart, you can still be able to go back. And once you publish it, you can close it. And to go back to the chart, simply click your headshot down here, open My Profile, and it will has a list of all of the chart you created before. And to visit back, click Watch Your Game Practice, and it will be the chart that you have worked on. And if you want to re-edit it again, just click Edit, and it will go back to the progress. Okay, so that's all for the Tableau trading session 1. And the second session, we'll talk about how to create a pie chart using Tableau. Thank you for your attention and have a nice class.